Hey everyone, I'm Mike Ball. I'm a product leader. I work at a company called EIG, and I do some other work across the webs and with a number of different businesses. You may or may not know me from videos I do on SaaS onboarding. It's a series called Onboarding Breakdowns. I'm finally going to kick off my own newsletter. Actually, when I say my own, I mean a newsletter with a friend of mine. Part of the reason I decided to do this is because I've seen a lot of what Beehiiv has been doing over the last year. They've been shipping a ton of cool stuff. They put a lot of work into the platform. I've seen some of the customer stories out of it. So me and my friend Rob have been writing content and working in this space for a long time, mostly for other people, and have decided to put some time into doing it for ourselves, try to give some of our expertise back out there, connect with a bigger community, all that good stuff. So what we are going to do while we're going down the route of starting a newsletter and building it up is kind of capture our experience working in the Beehiiv platform. So I don't know if it's going to be 100 days. I don't know if it's going to be 300 days. I don't know if I'm going to do 20 and get sick of it. But I'm going to start a series now of just kind of the process of doing this. So I have an onboarding video of Beehiiv. I'll probably actually re-record it because I think there's been some updates and I didn't love that take. But I have an account already set up. So I'm not going to do the onboarding now. This is my dashboard and I really haven't done anything yet, as you can see. There's new changes about this. Need to add a DMARC policy to the DNS provider. So whenever I set a domain, whatever we decide to call it, we're working on a few ideas right now, but I'll have to worry about that. So I'm going to dismiss that for the moment. And then when I set up the domain, hopefully they will remember to tell me that. So obviously the biggest thing that's tied to, I think I'm on a free plan right now, which is why I have some things blurred out, or maybe I just don't have acquisition sources. I don't have any data, so that's probably why the dashboard looks a little weird. The biggest thing they want me to do is import users. The Beehiiv monetization network is super interesting. So the newsletter can make money by showing other newsletters in their content, and they basically get paid per subscriber. So if the other newsletters get subscribers from being displayed on that, they get paid from it. So the newsletters who are paying for the advertising essentially are circulating that money around with the other publishers, which is kind of a really cool effect. So the supply and demand are kind of dependent on each other, but they're feeding each other too. And I've seen multiple users talk about getting higher payouts than what they're paying in per subscriber, so it's scalable. Meaning I can pay less than I'm getting, and it's consistent enough that I basically make money while I'm growing my audience at the same time, which is fantastic. That alone is worth quite a bit to anybody who's trying to build an audience, right? So the first most obvious thing they want you to do is get some subscribers in here. Having worked on similar things before, if you get your email list in the platform and you're actually able to communicate with them, that's kind of the first big piece of friction to remove in terms of getting somebody activated and using it, because they're not going to send to nobody. It's a lot easier to walk away from like a template or something than it is to walk away from a ready to market audience. So I do have a downloaded list from like my contacts, but when I go to this, import subscribers, 0 of 10. I guess I can only import 10, which seems weird. Subscriber limit is associated with your plan. Okay. That's interesting. So what happens if I give it a file and it only does 10 of them? Is it the first 10? Okay. Verify your identity. We'll raise your import limit to 10,000. Okay, so this is a good security thing so people aren't doing spam. Contact support. Let's see if Stripe can verify I am who I say I am. I might have to blur some of this out. Actually, let me pause this for a second. Okay, we're going to close out of that because I don't actually have my wallet in my office with me. It wants me to, and I didn't know Stripe did this, but it wants me to verify via my ID. Otherwise, there's a method to do that. So that's fine. 10,000 is a nice import limit for not having a paid plan. I'll go through that later. The one thing I did notice earlier, only emails, so this notice here actually, emails that should be subscribed. So then here, I want to send a welcome email. First need to set up a welcome email, and then add to automations, which I don't have set up yet, and then this. So this notice, this important one. They must have knowingly consented and opted into your newsletter. Otherwise, you are at risk of violating terms of service. You will not be billed if the list exceeds your limit plan. So if I have a contact list from a different newsletter, or I have a contact list of personal connections or LinkedIn or whatever, I can't import them, or maybe I can, but they're telling me that I may be violating their terms of use or privacy policy because they didn't explicitly opt into this newsletter. What I would love to see here is a way to send one email out to let them know I'm starting a newsletter and to let them subscribe to it through Beehiiv. Because if I do have the contact list of people that I've talked to or work with or whatever, what's the easiest way for me to get them in here? I'm okay with them having to subscribe because I would be pissed if somebody just subscribed me to their newsletter and I didn't know that they even had one. But this isn't helpful in that case. This is only helpful for people who are coming from other newsletter platforms, migrating essentially. So to direct people here as like one of the big first things to do during onboarding or for new users is maybe questionable, or maybe is likely to cause more friction than not for people who are starting a new newsletter out of the gate. It'd be cool. I don't know how to get back to my dashboard. I guess I'm in settings right now. It'd be cool if they gave me a different path. They do have a checklist up here. Start the guided tip tutorial. Publication and settings. Okay. So I'll go through all this. We'll save this for, this is boring stuff, so probably don't need to put this on video, but in terms of my first mini working session in Beehiiv today, I would say I got almost nothing done. I'm going to work on the name and the brand for the newsletter. I've been working on content in the background. I'm going to start setting this up. But in terms of getting my audience in here and ready to go, not a great first step. Again, I'm still excited about the platform. There's lots we can do in here, but I just want to share a few clips from the process every single day, and this was the first thing I ran into. So hopefully tomorrow or the next day we'll get some progress going and I'll have something positive to share. This is good feedback for the Beehiiv team, I suppose.